So I was finishing my makeup and I had the thought, why not film a video talking about my experiences purchasing homes as a young single woman? Hello, my name is Lauren. I'm a realtor in Maryland. And if you or anyone you know is looking to buy or sell a home, I would love to serve you. Now, let me get to the story. So, I graduated college in 2009. And when I graduated from college, I went home, which I'm from Hilton Head Island. I moved back home briefly before, until I found a job. So once I found a job, it was in Greenville, South Carolina. So remember, I'm from Hilton Head. I ended up relocating to Greenville for a job. Now, mind you, this was a different time in a different space of America, and I could afford to move to the upstate because back then rent was very cheap. And it's a good thing because that job was only paying what, $12 and some change an hour. So I was a call center representative or customer service representative for Verizon Wireless. Shout out to everybody that started at Verizon in the call center. I'm sure y'all doing great now. So I'm working this job for a couple weeks. My dad calls me and he says, "Okay, you've been at this job for a little bit now. You need to go get pre-approved to buy a house." What? Sir, who is going to give me a house? I'm fresh out of college and I make less than $13 an hour. So he said there are a lot of foreclosures on the market. Now is the time for you to get in there. You can purchase a house. I reluctantly listened to my dad. So I got pre-approved. Lo and behold, I had credit. I did not know I had credit. My credit score was like almost a 670. It was somewhere between like a 650 and a 670. So the loan officer was like, "Yeah, we can pre-approve you for 67,000." I was like, "What?" I was very shocked, very very shocked because again, I didn't know I had credit. I had never had a credit card. I never had anything in my name, so I didn't realize I had credit at that point. I did have credit. How did I have credit, and how did I not know I had credit? I'll tell you how. I was in college. My parents could not afford to send me to college. Therefore, I had a student loan. Did not realize that those student loans were already reporting to my credit, but they were also building my credit because while I was in college, they were deferred. So I wasn't paying on those loans. However, they were deferred, which they were still reporting to the credit bureau that whole time. This is not advice to get a or an excuse to get a student loan. This is just ignorance at its finest that just happened to work out for me for that situation. I have to make that clear. So I go and I take my pre-approval letter and I start looking for homes. Did not have good experiences with the realtors, which is why I knew like one day I always knew one day I'm gonna become a realtor because I did not have good experiences with the realtors that I was coming across. I had a really hard time almost every time I purchased, except for my third purchase. I had a hard time finding a good realtor. By my third purchase, I was already locked in with a good realtor who I am still connected with, still friends with to this day. I got frustrated because I just was not finding something that I wanted. Everything needed a lot of work. I did not want, nor could, or did I feel like at the time I could do said work. But my dad was like, "Oh no, I'll help you, I'll help you." I'm like, "Daddy," so I'm like, "Daddy, no respect, no disrespect, but you're getting older. You live almost 3 hours away. You're not gonna be able to help me with a house that needs that much work. Like these houses need too much work." I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it at all. So he still, was pushing me. But like I said, I was not feeling the condition of the homes that I was being shown. Which was, they were in my price range. It just, they needed work. And I didn't know the things that I know now. I didn't know anybody who could do the work, and I didn't have the extra money to put in the work, or so I thought. Because again, I'm young, it's a lot that I don't know. So, after months of looking, months of like bad experiences with the realtors, I gave up. I gave up and I was like, I'm going to give this a rest. I'm not going to do this right now. All the while, I'm reading real estate articles. I'm reading about real estate investing. So it's still on my heart. It's still on my mind. Fast forward, maybe 4 or 5 months later, I'm like, okay, let me try this again. Let me not completely like shut this down. Let me get back to the drawing board. So I go back to the drawing board and I start looking at houses again online on Zillow, of course, just like y'all be doing. And I start imagining myself in these houses. I start seeing my furniture in these houses. Mentally, I'm getting back in this space, right? So I get back out there and I see on Zillow these townhouses. But it was too good to be true in my mind because the townhouses, all of them were for sale. Not just one, like all of these towns. It was like a community of townhouses. It was a development and they were all for sale. And I'm thinking 60,000, 50. They were ranging from 58 to like 65,000, 67,000. And I'm like, no, this ain't real. Like, this is fake. This is a scam. Somebody posted this on Zillow, but it's not real. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Finally, after days and days, I kept looking at these different townhomes. I reach out to the realtor. I sent her my pre-approval, but by this time, my pre-approval is like, no good because I've waited so long. But she shows me the homes anyways. She shows me the homes. I meet with her. I go look at these townhouses, okay? I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm liking this. Me and her talking, and she's telling me, you might get a better rate through a mortgage broker. Because at that time, I was dealing with BB&T Bank. BB&T had pre-approved me first. So I need to focus. So she shows me these townhomes. It was a lady. She was a nice lady. I still remember her name. Her name was Cindy. Cindy started showing me these townhomes in this development. We look at these townhomes, and the first few that we come across in the development, I wasn't crazy about them. They was alright. I was like, let me see what else is over here. So she takes me to like a road that's down the hill. So this is a development. There's houses on this side of the street. There's houses on this side of the street. And then you go down the street and there's like this dip and it goes downhill and it's just these 4 townhomes just sitting by themselves and all this empty land. So you could tell the development had not been finished. So something happened. The bank said that the developer that went underwater or something with the homes. This was 2009, so this was during the time when the housing market crashed and all that stuff. So they, I guess, lost all their money or whatever, and they foreclosed on all of the townhomes. And that's how the bank ended up with the townhomes. But the developer never got to finish building up this community. So we go down to these 4 units and we look at a couple of them. And then we go to the end unit. And I was like, oh, I like this. I don't know. She had like I said she, like I know the person that was living there. I did not know the person that was living there, but I assumed it was a woman because like later on I had found like a prayer posted in one of the cabinets. So I felt like most of the time you're gonna see women doing stuff like that. But anyways, they had like like a little kind of backsplash design in the kitchen that the other houses didn't have, which I thought was really cute at the time. Of course, now it's super outdated and I've changed the whole thing. But I thought it was really cute. And the light, y'all, the way the light shined in this townhouse, I loved it. And I knew that that was my townhouse. I knew it was mine. And I was like, I want to make an offer. So Cindy advised me to go with the broker and see if the broker gave me a better rate than BB&T, which they did. It was like 4.5%. And I think BB&T had given me like a 5 and some change interest rate at the time, but the broker had given me 4.5% for a 30-year mortgage at $65,000. At this time, this is like maybe August, the end of August when I make this offer. I was 23, but by the time I closed, my birthday had just passed. So I was 24 when I closed on this house, right? So I'm like 20, I think I'm 24. No, I was 22. I'm tripping. It was 2009. No, this was 2010. So yes, I was 24. But when I actually closed, I was 24. When I went under contract, I was 23. So I'm 24 years old, and here I am closing on my first house. And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that I had bought my own house. But let me tell you, I do not regret that decision to buy that house. I see so many people online talking down on home ownership. Everybody need to do what they want to do. Everybody need to do what's best for them. Okay? If you feel in your heart that you want to be a homeowner, a condo owner, a townhouse owner, whatever, do you. Don't let what other people are saying deter you from doing what you want to do. You got to do what's best for you, okay? So I close, everything goes well, and I'm now a homeowner. But the funny thing is, which made me know, like, when you're closing on a house, like, you kind of like, you're in limbo. After you submitted everything, you really, unless they need something, you don't hear from like, the loan officer or whatever. You just going about your days and waiting for this home to close. You're waiting for your dates. You hear things here and there, like we're at this point, we're at this process, we're at that process. But for the most part, it was crickets. I didn't hear anything, but I know everything is working out. So I am packing up my stuff. I am, getting ready to move out of this apartment. I tell them like I'm not renewing. Well, I didn't tell them. I was about to tell them that I was not renewing my lease. But before I could tell them that I wasn't renewing my lease, I get a letter from them telling me that my rent is going to increase. My rent when I moved into that apartment was $450 a month. Cable was included. Cable was included. So when I only lived there for a year, okay? So my year lease was coming up for renewal, and it was going up to $515, from $450 to $515. I gladly walked up there and told them I was not renewing the lease. Me and the woman at the front office, we had made, me and the leasing office had kind of made a good connection. They did not like charge me month to month, even though I think I went like a month outside of the lease. They didn't charge me for it, which I really appreciated at the time. But it's the least they could have did for some crap that they pulled when I moved in. But I think that's what she was doing. I think she was making up for that. But anyways, I was so happy when I closed because when you get your before you close, you get like these documents that tell you like how much everything's gonna be and all that stuff. And my payment was going to be less than that rent increase, which meant my overall budget was going to be staying the same. I was still going to be paying, under $500. It was gonna my mortgage was ended up being 450 and some change, 450 and some cents. So it all worked out just like my daddy said it would. But that whole process inspired me to want to one day get my real estate license because I had a great experience with Cindy. Even though the other realtors I met before Cindy, I didn't have a good experience, I had a great experience with Cindy. Um, And I even remember me and her having a conversation because her daughter was my age, and her daughter had just moved to Atlanta. So she was like, do you think my daughter can do something like this? Do you think my daughter could buy her own house? I mean, you're around the same age as my daughter, but she's young. You know, y'all are young. So I think even me being so young kind of inspired her to like take it back to her daughter and be like, yo, you can do the same thing this young lady was doing. I told her how much I was making because contrary to what people believe, realtors don't always know exactly what their clients are making. They see how much you got approved for, but they don't always know exactly how much money you make. So I told her how much money I was making at the time, and she like her mouth just dropped open because, like I said, I was making less than $13 an hour, but I was obviously making enough to afford rent at $450 a month, and also a car payment because I think at the time, well, no, after I closed on the house, I ended up getting a car. What happened? No, I had a car. Yeah, I had a car payment too. I had a car payment too. It was under $300. Um, my car had put me down. I got another car, but it was a small loan. It was only 200 and something dollars, but I paid it off super fast. But yes, I told her how much I was making, and I told her like if your daughter wants to do something like this, I definitely think she can do it. Like I'm not anything special. I'm just a girl who listened to her dad, and this is where we are. So yes, I said all that to say if you want to buy a house, buy a house. There is so much noise on the internet, not just about buying a house, but just about everything you want to do with your life. You have to do with this life what you want to do with this life or what you feel compelled to do with this life. And as long as you're not hurting nobody, as long as you're not fucking it up for the next generation, I think it's okay. I think you're going to be okay and do what's right for you. And I just wanted to share that story. I think if it's something that you want to do, go for it. Do what's best for you and yours. Block out all the noise because you're going to get a lot of noise. Please believe you're going to get a lot of noise. But you got to do what's best for you. Okay? But yes, I still own that home. It is a rental. I have a tenant in there now. I've been renting out that house since 2017. It's 2025. October will be 8 years. So 8 years I've been renting out that home almost. And I've only had 3 tenants in those 8 years. But yeah, it's been a journey. I will definitely say that. Now, I did go on to buy 2 other properties, which I can talk about in another video. This video has gotten long, but I purchased all 3 of those properties myself as a single woman. If I can do it, you can do it. Yes, I am married now, but you know what direction you want to go in, you know what you want. Don't let anything stop that. Anything. Your marital status or any of that. If you or anyone you know is interested in purchasing a home in Maryland, please give me a call if you need help with finding a rental property in Maryland because you're renting, you're not at the option to buy right now, or you're not ready to buy right now. I can help you find a suitable rental as well in your budget. Let's get on a call and talk about it. All right, y'all. I'll see you later.